Hey everyone, it's Veiled. Shot back at it with another Awaken Chaos Era video. As you saw from our intro, I got a comment on my previous video about Hierarchy Soul Arcanas, and that's going to be these decently expensive potions right here that can be used in place of duplicates to ascend your epic and legendary characters. So they're pretty expensive resources, so you don't want to spend them lightly. So I decided to make a video about it. Now, if you are enjoying these videos, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment. I do read all of them, and check out my other videos. Now let's go ahead and head over to my spreadsheet that I made.
8 hours later.
All right, here we are at the tier list. Now I want to go over a couple things before I get into it. First off is the tiers and what do they mean? So S is generally super useful or a essential buff to a character. A is generally useful or a really nice buff to a character. B is just generally okay or a niche useful character. C is generally underwhelming or maybe a niche average character. D is just generally useless. I don't really find a use for it anywhere. Now, a couple criteria of the tier list itself. Now, this is a trait upgrade tier list. This is not a trait tier list. And that means what do they get from ascending their characters, not from the trait itself. Because this is a video about Soul Arcana. And so how are you spending that? What do you get from it? What's the total bang for your buck, essentially? The second criteria is what do these characters actually get according to their role? So let's say you have a support. Are they taking over someone else's role by getting their trait? Or are they just improving their own? And how essential are they to their team? That is the third criteria. For example, someone like Gangelo or someone like Scarlet increases their bleed damage or poison damage by 50% overall from the Ascension effect. That's super essential if you're building those type of compositions. Now, let's jump into a couple of the picks, maybe some that people don't understand, or why, kind of my thought process, or some examples of what I mean by this criteria. So let's start off with this S tier in the legendary category. So Gangelo, he is an essential for the poison team. He creates the best poison team by doing an additional 50% on top of 50% with his Ascension effect. Damage from poison, super good. Tia, crowd control is hard to come by in this game, so I rate it a little higher than normal. And her trait will decrease speed even more through her passive and allow you to apply frozens even more often, which is pretty insane. And now Brand is just a solid trait overall. There's really not a place where it is bad. It's very good all over the place. Additional 5% max HP shield to your entire team is pretty nice. Now, someone that might be a little more surprising is like Valeria down here. I think Valeria is a very nice character, but her trait itself is also very good, but her trait upgrade is pretty terrible. So you go from, instead of just upon the death of an enemy reduce her cooldowns, to a death of any unit, which means it's pretty much like, okay, my characters are dying, I'm getting reduced cooldowns, but you don't really want your characters to die in the first place, which is why I don't see a use for it anywhere. Similar to Savannah. Let's keep going. Let's go into some of the epics. Again, the same reason I rate Mila highly is the reason why I rate Tia highly. I think crowd control is hard to come by. Additional 20% chance to apply frozen and 5% per negative effect is pretty nuts because she does have an AoE. Nathalia can just get a strict 50 to 60% damage increase with this trait. William is a staple on every team, so 30% more damage for all your basics is pretty nuts. Santis is a staple for her poison team. You kind of don't have a poison team without her. Andres might be a little surprising for some of you. I think he's a little sleeper character. Plus 20% crit damage, just a flat stat. If he has rage, and other than that, he's going to be reducing it. He's going to have 100% rather than a 50% chance of reducing his ultimate cooldown. So he's going to be way more consistent. I think he's an essential trait for Andre. Again, Scarlet is rated so highly because she's an essential for making a bleed team. Even though it may not be as good as you might think. Hakrun, Rickard, and Lordrek are rated a little higher because I think they are part of some of the most strong arena defense comps. And Hakrun itself, it kind of reminds me of an Iron Brago, if you know who I'm talking about. 20% defense bonus based on his defense, pretty crazy. Someone that might surprise you is Zalex is in B tier. I don't think his trait is a B tier trait. I think it's an S tier trait. However, if you think about it, his Ascension effect grants attack up upon the death of an enemy. If you're using him for someone in somewhere like Queen of the Tides, you might bring in Joseph. So attack up is superfluous. You don't need a attack up from his trait because you already have it from Joseph. Or if you're not bringing an attack up and you already have enough damage to kill the enemy, then you don't need attack up because you're going to kill the rest of the enemies already. So you don't need attack up. So that's why, but it is situationally useful, which is why I put it in B tier. And then, of course, if you're interested, I do have the LD legendaries rated, and epics, even though we cannot upgrade them with our potions. There may come a time when we can, so I put them in there just because I thought it was a little more fun. All right, this took me quite a while, so if you have any feedback, maybe you think, I don't know, Yolanda's trait is really, really nuts and it should be higher, or maybe Hydrosia's trait is super, super bad, you think, and it should be in D tier. Let me know, drop a comment down below. I will be adjusting this. This is a work in progress, but I did want to make a video because someone asked for it, and I thought it would be a fun video to make. All right, that's going to be it for this video. If you are enjoying content like this, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and if you have any cool ideas like that person from my video yesterday, be sure to leave them because I will do videos on them. As you saw, one day passed and I got that video out. I am interested in seeing some of your ideas. This was actually a really fun thing to do, although it took a ton of time. I am working on an artifact tier list for Endless Trials. If you wish to see that, be sure to subscribe because it will be in the works and it will be coming out in a couple days. All right, thanks for stopping by.